Here we are one more time with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. This is Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is a really cool knife. This is the Kohetsu Wa, or Japanese handled HAP40 Kiritsuke 240mm knife. So this particular line of knives has a 3-layer construction, and so the hardcore cutting edge steel in the center is HAP40 semi-stainless, which is a very high quality semi-stainless steel, which means it's going to patina and get a little bit of staining on it, some light staining with use, but it's a very high edge retention steel. It's kind of got the coined name around Chef Knives to Go called voodoo steel. I think Mark came up with that because the edge retention is just otherworldly. Let's just put it that way. So it has a high heat treat of around 65 Rockwell. They do this in a very controlled environment with testing and reports that he gets, so it's very good quality control on these. But this steel just has awesome edge retention. It's quite hard, so you've got to be a little careful with technique and to avoid chipping, but if you do your part, it will reward you with lots of edge retention. The cladding is a soft stainless cladding on either side of that hardcore steel, and you can kind of see the cladding line there. The cladding in practice acts a little bit semi-stainless, so it may gain some patina or light staining, I should say. Not really a patina so much, but if you see the cladding stain a little bit as well, that's just kind of what they use on these, and it'll just kind of gain a workman-like look to it over time, especially in a pro environment. And these are excellent in pro environments. If you like edge retention and you got to do a lot of prep, these are great. The weight and dimensions on these should be pretty similar from knife to knife. This particular handle is a little bit newer, so as handles change over time, the weight could change a little bit. This particular one is 178 grams, or 3. Excuse me. One more time. 6.3 ounces. Edge length is right about 240 or 9.5 inches. And with this particular handle, these are a little bit longer. We've got about 15 inches on the overall length. Spine thickness, these are pretty thin blades. They're fairly stiff, though, surprisingly stiff for the thinness, especially in the back half. But I got about 2.1 coming out of the handle, and then about 2.0 halfway down. And then it pretty much holds that, and then starts to thin out where we start getting the grind down towards the edge. And these get pretty thin at the edge. So you make that corner with that reverse sword tip, and there you go. So these are high performance grinds on these. Here's the choil shot, nice and thin at the edge. Side by side, the Wa handled or Japanese handled versions of a given knife and size, type and size, are going to be a little bit thinner, a little bit more high performance grinds than the Western handled counterparts of the same quote model. So keep that in mind. If you want a little bit stiffer knife for a little bit more robustness in an environment, maybe in a pro environment, and trade a little performance for that, you could go with the Western handled version. If you want a little bit more performance, you could go with the Wa handled version. And that's kind of typically what I see handling a lot of these knives, is it just kind of seems to be the way they're made. And it, obviously intentionally. So blade height on these is pretty generous, 51 millimeters, so there's lots of clearance on there for your fingers. The handles in this particular one they're using right now is very nicely done. It is octagonal, and it is all Pack-A-Wood, which is a stabilized wood product. So they've got a gray Pack-A-Wood for the main body and the black Pack-A-Wood, which is almost charcoaly for the front. And these have all been extremely smooth right here. Really nice sanding on the front part, on the back part. It's got that kind of almost like semi-custom feel to the handle. It's just they're really high quality. This also has, they've all had excellent glue up where the tang goes into the handle, so nice and tight glue up joint to prevent any water getting in there, any moisture. Circumference on this handle is about 75 millimeters, about 3 inches where the two materials meet. And that's going to bring the balance point. These handles are definitely heavier than like the Howood handles with buffalo horn ferrules. So depending on the handle they use, your balance points will change. But with this handle, there's your balance point, which is going to be slightly behind a pinch grip. So in this one, it's still pretty neutral, but you get just a touch of a handle heavy kind of balance to it. Not much, but just a little bit. Let's get our beauty shot on this guy. So he's a challenge trying to show. There we go. That looks pretty good. These always have everyone's going to be unique, but they always have a pretty good, cool line of demarcation between the cladding and the core. Every knife's going to be different. You can see they've got vertical sanding marks or finish marks on these, and then they've got some embossed kanji on the right side of the blade as you'd be holding it using it. And then on the left side of the blade, it's basically plain. You can see the finish on there. That's a really good shot of the cladding core steel demarcation line. And as these patina, the cladding and the core do that differently. So as you get some staining on there, that'll start to pop for you and really pop and make it look cool. Let's see, I guess we're to the cutting board part. Alright, so here's what this one looks like on the cutting board, which should be fairly representative of these overall. You can have slight changes from knife to knife in the edge profile, depending on who's doing it. But here's what this one looks like. So what you've got is a fairly aggressive belly towards the tip. That gets me up in this area here, so I can rocket over stuff. Not huge stuff, because a tip wants to kind of dig in there, but I can definitely get over medium and small stuff rocking this. But it definitely rocks pretty nice because the front's a little bit curvy. And then we've got a gentle belly and then a little bit of a kind of a flow into a stop at the heel. So you could do some chopping with the back part of this blade, not a problem. So this should support quite a few different techniques. But these are a nice package, especially in a pro environment. And it's 240 is good for larger volume prep, and the edge retention I said is outstanding. But it also is a nice addition to a home environment. This is definitely an upgraded handle, so it's a very interesting handle, very high quality. So just really cool package. So this is the Kohetsu Wa, or Japanese handled HAP40 Kiritsuke 240mm knife.